Welcome to the fourth and final video in my series of going through all the cards in Dungeoneer, Vault of the Fiends. Now in this last video I'm going to be covering all the map cards, which are these white-backed cards, and the miscellaneous cards that came in here. Those are ones that aren't used in gameplay, but we'll take a look at those here shortly. So there are two types of map cards in this set. Now this is a dungeon set, which was the same as Tomb of the Lich Lord. And a dungeon set contains rooms and passages. So rooms have a description of either what you have to do when you enter it, or some action that can take place while you're there. Passages, on the other hand, are just you pass through, going from you have to go through these to get from room to room. Now there is a kind of a subset to the passage called the Grim Passage, but we'll talk about that when we get to those. For now, we're going to go through all of the room cards. Okay, all rooms and passages have a peril value and a glory value. And this is how much peril and how much glory you gain every time you enter this location. And then along the sides, you know, they've got doorways. They either have open doors like this, which means it's free to move through, or they may have like this, they may have an L, which means it's locked, or it may have a T, which means it's trapped, or if it's blacked out like this, that means it's a wall and you cannot pass through unless you have a card that allows you to pass through walls. Alright, so the first one is the Armory, and you gain 3 peril, 2 glory, and on your turn you may play 1 armor, weapon, shield, or helmet at no cost, which on the surface is great. But if you do, you have to do a test and overcome the armor golem's melee threat of 4 or take 1 wound, unless it's deactivated. So in my last video, when I went through quests, there was the Dismantle Armor Golem quest. Now if that quest has been completed, then this armor golem is deactivated and you don't have to do that test. So that's ideally when you want to come to the Armory. Here's the Armory, so you see all the weapons, see a shield on the floor there. So this is just where you've got your, you know, armor and weapons. All right, that's the Armory. Then we have the Black Cyst, 3 peril, 2 glory. The bottom is a wall. You've got the other 3 with a lock on the left, and you may pay 1 movement point to place or remove a bridge token on Fiery Chasm, or to place or remove a deactivated token on Transdimensional Gate. So with this map card, you can actually affect 2 other locations. And when we get to these cards, we'll see what that does on each of them. But just remember, Black Cyst is where you go to be able to affect those 2 cards. And here is the artwork. It's pretty interesting. I like that. Just can't go on the bottom. There's a wall. There's a lock on the left. Okay. Then we've got the Bloodstained Gate. 4 peril, 3 glory, and you pay 2 movement and 1 wound, and take 1 wound to relocate your hero to any space. So this gate could really save you some time if it's on one side of the map and you need to get to the other side. Now it's going to take 2 movement, so you want to make sure where you need to go is further than 2 spaces away. Let's see, and there's only 1 way to get into it. The rest of the sides have walls. So here's the Bloodstained Gate. As you can see, there's only 1 way in, and that's right there. Okay, the next room is the Dark Altar. 3 peril, 3 glory. You can enter from any side, but to leave the left, you're going to have to do a lock test. So while you're here, you can do dark healing. On your turn, you may pay 1 movement point to recover 1 health and collect 3 peril. And choose a hero or monster. That target must overcome a magic threat of 5 or take 1 wound. Using dark healing ends your hero phase. And there's our altar itself. That's pretty cool. Okay, next we have the flooded chamber. You cannot enter on the left, but the other 3 are okay, but there is a locked door at the bottom. 4 peril, 3 glory. Anytime you enter the space, overcome speed threat of 5 or take 1 wound. Add +1 to the threat for each readied treasure item you have. So this makes sense. The more items you have in inventory, the harder it's going to be to overcome that test. Because, well, it is a flooded chamber. So, and that looks like one of those fiend canister things. That's pretty neat. All right. Next we have Fiends Hollow. 4 peril, 3 glory. There's a wall at the bottom, but the other 3 are okay. There's a trap to leave the right side. Anytime you enter this space, you must discard 1 card from your hand or inventory. And I've said this a couple times during gameplay, that almost sounds like as you enter it, someone pickpockets you or takes one of your items, you know? Okay, so that's Fiends Hollow. Fiery Chasm. This is one of the 2 locations that the Black Cyst can affect. You get 4 peril, 3 glory. You cannot go at the top or bottom, so you can imagine this being like a bridge. Now we're looking down the bridge this way, but imagine the bridge going from one side to the other. And when you enter this space on your turn, overcome speed threat 6 or take 1 wound, unless the effect is deactivated with a bridge token from the Black Cyst. So if you're at the Black Cyst and you spend the movement point, then you can put a token on here saying that this test does not have to be taken. But I imagine the speed test, and I've said this in my gameplay videos also, is to try to get through here without the heat, the fire, and the lava affecting you. Okay, the next one is the laboratory. Now this is where Romulith does his experiments. 4 peril, 3 glory. You can enter from any side, but to leave you're going to either have to go through a locked door or a trapped door. Fiends have +1 to all attacks and cost 1 less peril to play here. They're easier to show up and they're stronger on their attacks. Unless the effect is deactivated, see the Destroy Laboratory quest. So, last video I showed a quest where if it's completed, then this laboratory is deactivated and none of this takes place. It's just an empty room, and you still have the traps and locks if you want to get back out. And that is what the laboratory looks like, and he probably houses all of his experiments in those things. Who knows what he does on that table. That may be where the son of Romulith was created. Who knows? Okay, the Transdimensional Gate. 3 peril, 2 glory. You cannot go in the bottom, but the other 3 are alright, and the left side is locked. Unless deactivated by the Black Cyst, you may pay 1 movement point to relocate your hero to any grim passage. So that is an awesome ability, especially if the grim passages are, scattered throughout the map. That might be a quick way to get across the map. But you do have to make sure it's a grim passage, not just a regular passage. And this is the second location that the Black Cyst can affect, along with the Fiery Bridge, or the Fiery Chasm. Okay, next we have the Treasure Chamber. 2 peril, 2 glory. You cannot enter on the right, but the other 3 are right. And to get out, you're going to either have to go through a locked door or a trapped door. On your turn, you may play 1 treasure at no cost. Collect peril equal to the glory value of that card. So actually, the cost is taking peril points. But yeah, we see plenty of treasure here in the treasure chamber. Now there is a quest that requires you to be in the treasure chamber. Well, there are quests They're required to be in a lot of these rooms. The turning chamber, this is pretty interesting. For 3 peril and 2 glory, you can enter on any side, but to get out here and here, you're going to have to test 8. So that is a lot. I mean, it's a trap. So those are some pretty tough traps for just being a room. Anytime a hero enters this space, rotate it 180 degrees. So you may ask, what difference does that make? But say you came in this door. Say this is, you know, out on the outskirts of the map. Let's just say you've got a couple of map cards out, and this is all the way on the right side. If you come in this door, it's going to rotate, and then to get back out, you're going to have to do that 8 trap. So it depends on which direction you come in, but it could cause problems. And that is the turning chamber. And the final room is the vault entryway. 1 peril, 1 glory. This is the entrance card. That's the entrance symbol. You start here, and you may not initiate a challenge on a hero here. You may pay 2 glory to discard 1 personal quest and draw 1 new one. So this is identical, except in art, to the entryway that was in Tomb of the Lich Lord. So I'm wondering if all entries are like this. I'll have to see as we look at the other sets. Anyway, so that is the vault entryway, and this art is also featured on quite a few cards back in my earlier videos. Okay, so those are all the rooms. Now we've got passages and grim passages. Now the first one is just the straight up corridor. 2 peril, 1 glory. The sides are blocked, so you can only go in and out the top and bottom. But yeah, notice, you know, all the vegetation and the growth, almost like you could smell, or, you know, it's the life, the moisture, the dampness in this place. So that's the corridor. Next we have the hall, which is the same, but it's going this direction instead of this direction. 2 peril, 1 glory. And then we have the junction, 2 peril, 1 glory. And you can go in or out of any of the directions. Okay. Then we've got the turn, 2 peril, 1 glory. In the left, out the bottom, or up and out. And the corner, which is to the right in the bottom. 2 peril, 1 glory. Then you have the grim corner, which is the same orientation as the corner, but it's 3 peril and 2 glory because there is a pit located in this one. And whenever you enter this space, you have to test your speed and get a 7 or better, or you become tipped. You fell in the pit and you become tipped. Okay, if you pass though, you avoided the pit. Okay, then we have the plain old intersection with just a T, can't go out the top. 2 peril, 1 glory. And then you have its matching the grim intersection. Actually, there's going to be 2 grim intersections. Both of those have 3 peril and 2 glory. So they're all in the same orientation, same T. But whereas this one is plain and empty, this one has spikes. So whenever you enter this, you're going to have to do a test of speed and get a 5 or better, or take 1 wound for brushing up against the spikes. And then this grim intersection just says that if a trap is played against you while you're here, you add 2 to the threat. And man, one of those traps in this set had an 8 to begin with. So if that's played on you here, you're going to have to get a 10 or better to avoid it. Okay, and finally, the last map card is the Grim Fork. And it's a T, but going vertically, and whatever. 3 peril, 2 glory, and same thing, traps have a +2 to their threat when you're in this spot. Now those are all the map cards. Now, the set also came with these character cards, Now, from the beginning I said this set came with 255 card decks. And I always open the first one first. And by the way, these have green backs like the hero cards. I always play my first gameplay video with just the first deck in the set. It's a little easier, the cards are easier to understand, the mechanics are not so tricky or involved. And in this set, the first deck was labeled C, which I like because it's a continuation from the first set. Tomb of the Lich Lord had decks A and B, this one has C and D. Now these are the three heroes that came in the C deck, and these are the three heroes that came in the D deck. Now for games 2 and 3 for Vault of the Fiends, I played with both decks combined. And I played with 2 heroes each game. That's why I have 3 gameplay videos for each set, because I want to see all the heroes in action. Okay, so you've got these 2 character... Oh, and what these are, you're supposed to actually cut these out and then fold them in half. And those are your standees you can use for your characters, or your heroes. But I just use plastic miniatures from other board games. Okay, and it also came with these 2 symbol cards. Now we'll go through these real quick. You got your combat types, melee, magic, and speed. And your speed also gives you the number of movement points each turn. You've got your life, and then these symbols here which tell how monsters attack. So if it's a circle, they can attack with that type, with that combat type. If it's a diamond, they can't initiate an attack with that type, but they can counterattack. And if you see the starburst on a type of magic, that means if it's a success, then whatever is printed takes place because they got a hit. Now these are on the map cards. This is the entrance symbol, the open door, and a wall. And then this shows if the door is locked and what you need to test speed and what result you need to meet or beat. T means trapped. Again, you test your speed to get that number or better. A pit, and if you fail the test, then you fall in the pit and you become tipped. Hazards, that's if there is a, that's when they give you like a +2 to your trap tests. And spikes, you'll test your speed, and if you fail, you take 1 wound. Now down here, you've got your glory points, which buys treasure cards and boon cards. You've got peril points, which buys encounter cards and bane cards. Okay, so you have the 2 symbol cards, and finally, it comes with 4 turn phase cards, or turn order. So these are what happens during each turn, and they give you 4. So each player, this can play 2 to 4 players. So on your turn, phase 1 is the reset phase. Phase 2, Dungeon Lord. 3 is the build phase. 4 is the hero phase, which it shows what you can spend movement points on. You can move, explore, or attempt a quest. And finally, your 5th and final discard draw phase. Then it lists your combat steps and things you can do off or on your turn, such as play an anytime card, play a response card on the response step in combat, which is the second one there, B. You can use the effect of a readied card if permitted. You can untip your hero or initiate a challenge. You can attack another hero. And here we go, the Impaloraptor. He was featured in my second video when I went through all the monsters. He was one of the monsters in this set, and he was featured on a few other cards, and this is the last card you can find the Impaloraptor on. Okay, so with these, you've got these 4 cards, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these 8 miscellaneous cards, if you take those out of the 110 total, then you're only going to be playing with 102 cards actually. So when I say I'm playing with all 110 cards from the set, I'm not telling 100% of the truth, but you get the idea. All right, so that is all the miscellaneous cards, and that is every card that came in Dungeoneer Vault of the Fiends. Thanks for watching, and you know I will be doing this for the next set that came out. If you want to find out what that is, keep watching the channel. It will come out soon. Thanks.